Hello, welcome to Big Bang Radio Spotlights. This is a show where we talk to independent artists from all around the world all about their music and their process for making it. I'm your host, Isaac Anderson, and today I get to sit down with the musician Grant Carey. Without any further ado, here's the interview. Well, Grant, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. I want to start at the beginning of your musical journey, just like we do with all the other artists that we talk to on this show. So the first question I want to ask you is, what is your earliest musical memory?
Probably playing piano. My mom had a piano in the house, and she took lessons as a kid. So when we moved to Pittsburgh when I was young, and she brought her childhood piano from Boston. And we used to take lessons together. We used to go to the same older woman who taught piano lessons. I would practice in the back while my mom took her lesson because I hadn't been practicing all week. I was just screwing around on the piano, writing little ditties. But yeah, my family is really into music. My dad loves music, so there's always music in the house and grew up around it for sure.
Do you remember the first song that you really can remember writing and actually becoming an actual piece of music that you felt good about putting out in the world?
When I was in high school, a couple of my friends and I started a band. And that was my first experience, like bringing something I had written to like peers. So I was pretty nervous. I remember bringing a couple songs, but yeah, they liked them. And so we started this band, and you know, we did some battle of the bands, changed our band name every show, that kind of stuff. But yeah, high school was when I kind of really got into it, and then college kind of took off with writing.
Do you remember any sort of albums or maybe songs that really helped cement your musicality as you know it now?
When I discovered the National, particularly the record Boxer, that was huge for me. Matt Berniger's got like a nice low voice. So when I heard those songs, I was like, oh, here's a guy with like a low voice, kind of like me, singing these kind of like pop hooks over indie rock, introspective lyrics. So that was a big one. And then like Sufjan Stevens too, just kind of the world building of his work is almost theatrical, which I would definitely dig. So yeah, those are two like early inspirations that I discovered. And then, you know, my parents were real into like Bruce and some more like classic rock stuff, which was big for me too.
When did like this music project like legitimately start? Because you've been writing music for quite some time. Like when was the beginning of Grant Carey as we know it now?
The first band I had is called Summer Underground. Started that with my friend and now partner, Chrissy Sandman, aka Sandwoman, who I collaborate with on lots of different projects. And then, yeah, I guess I started doing the Grant Carey thing around 2019-ish. I had some scores that I had written for these modern dance pieces that I wanted to put on Spotify. And then I was also working on this kind of pop track called Boys Have Curves Too, which was about like body image and like more personal experience. So I was kind of like, I was like, all right, I'm just going to like use my name and kind of be myself and have this moment. Because I had also had a solo project called Private Victories, which, you know, sounds very private. It was very personal and a bit insulated. So I was kind of like, yeah, around 2019, I was like, let's use the name. Here we go.
You heard that I'm leaving. You called it alright. It's worse when you fear it. Feels better when you try. I didn't like it till the one day you see the water on my hands. Yeah.
You have all these introspective, thoughtful songs, but there's a sense of playfulness and there's a really sense of like this kind of this beauty into it. It's a lot of different things happening in your music. Do you find yourself trying to write from like a figurative standpoint or like a literal standpoint? I don't know. How does like writing the bones of a song work for you?
If it's my own stuff, if it's my own project, it usually kind of happens naturally. I'm usually writing in response to an event in my life or trying to work through something. Like, I don't know, some of it is not totally in control. I also write a lot, so I'm never like trying to sit down and like I need to write something because I have way too much to like finish, and catch up with. So it usually just happens, and I collect songs like little journal entries, I guess. So yeah, a lot of times I'm writing from a very kind of personal, literal narrative space. But then, if I'm collaborating with other people, sometimes it opens up and you're can step outside yourself and think about this broader story. And I hope that my own songs do that too. And it's kind of nice to get to the point where you put a song out because then it's not all about you. It's for somebody else and for somebody else to find themselves in.
You not only make awesome music for yourself, but you make a lot of really awesome and interesting projects for other people in a lot of different avenues. Like you've done stuff for like dance and you've done stuff for like short films. I'm a big fan of Dog's Best Friend. I thought that one was a lot of fun. What draws you to a project and what is your process kind of going into it that might be setting yourself apart from your own personal music?
Well, I come from, in college, I studied theater. And so I come from this really collaborative space, and I like having like a director, people who are kind of like collaborators or working with choreographers. So yeah, I think I start a project by first considering if I can bring something unique to it. Because I don't know, I'm not always right for every project, and sometimes things don't work out. I make up a sketch and it's like too weird for the vibe or whatever. But yeah, with stuff like that, it's good to like first check in and see, can I bring myself to this project? Can I really make it better? Am I interested in it? And then if the answer is yes, it's really about like the narrative and the style. And yeah, I do like genre blending or genre hopping and things like that. As long as I can ground it in honesty. So yeah, I guess it kind of depends on who's in charge and what the vision is.
I want to hop on something you definitely did sit in the driver's seat for, and that is your latest release, Lost in Why. Everything flows together kind of like as one cohesive project. What was the process of making that for you?
It's kind of this collection of songs that I wrote a while ago, probably between like 2013 and 2016 when I was living in New York City after college. I was living in Queens, and I was releasing other music at the time under other projects, but there was sort of this buildup of extra songs that didn't make it out then. So I wanted to put them out, and I think I had enough distance from like the personal stuff that these songs were about. And I had grown as a person a lot, where I felt a little bit more maybe comfortable in certain aspects of my life and was ready to put them out. And I'm kind of glad I waited because I've hopefully become a better producer since 2014, 2015. And so it was cool to approach like these songs I had written years ago as like, kind of a more evolved version of myself as a person and also as a producer. So it's kind of good to have some distance from it. But yeah, that was kind of the process.
Well, that record and all the other records that you have are on streaming right now. And if people want to keep up with Grant Carey, how can they find you online?
I'm on Instagram a lot. My name's Grant Carey. The Instagram is plant_Carey. I should probably change that, but it's one of those things now. It's been like typed out everywhere. That's that. I think that's the same on Twitter. And yeah, my website is grantcarey.xyz, and you can check that out for like kind of everything I've done over the years. And yeah, Grant Carey on all the streaming services.
Heard that. Well, Grant, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. But before you go, I got one more question. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a Big Bang Radio spotlight before, but I'm a musician, but I also love film. And I know that you love film because you've worked in it a lot, but musicians just have a soft spot for that medium. So I'm just curious, Grant, before you go, what is your favorite movie?
I really like Children of Men. That was a big one for me. Yeah, I need to like kind of get back into movies. It's been a lot of music and TV for me recently. Um, but yeah, that was one I saw when I was, a little bit younger that I was just like blown away by that for sure.
Thanks to Grant for sitting down with us and talking all about his music. If you want to see more interviews just like this, you can find us online at Studio 67 NCC. Thank you all for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson, and until next time, stay lovely.